WNS friends at the Modell Lyric, where John Cusack is coming in and screening Say Anything next week, as well as Steely Dan coming in next month for my 50th birthday, as well as Kansas on November 24th. Also brought to you by our friends at Sporticulture. That's sporticulture.com out on the web. The fantastic Terps flower I have here, the Ravens, the Bills. Week after week, we're going to have some cool, beautiful flowers around here. My cat loves them already. They smell beautiful and odoriferous, and you can find them at sporticulture.com. They are a local company. This is a local sports guy as well, over at WMAR Channel 2, getting the job done there. We've had a little bit of fun during the Stanley Cup run, as well as he is another one of the puck heads we've had around here. And like everybody else here in the local media space, getting ready for Ravens Mania. And Shawn Stepner, first things first, there is optimism here, right? So we don't have that with the baseball team. I think as much as I'm sitting next to my Terps flower and they played well this week, I don't think they're going to win the national championship this year. But I think a lot of folks believe that the Ravens can make this thing interesting and make it fun for everybody, that they're capable of going on that kind of a magic carpet ride this year.
Yeah, I think so, and thanks for having me, Nestor. The preseason gave you a lot of optimism, I think. A healthy Joe Flacco, some flashes from Lamar Jackson. RG3 is on the roster, and he didn't look out of place like previous versions of RG3 in the NFL. In the preseason, he looked okay. And I think there's just a general kind of feeling around practices. I know you've been out there. I've been out there. And there's just a different feeling this year. Everybody's rejuvenated. They're renewed. They feel like they have the sort of team that can get back into the playoffs. And let's face it, a lot of people have their backs against the wall this year in that franchise, and they want to keep their jobs in Baltimore, namely the two biggest ones, John Harbaugh and Joe Flacco. So I think there's a lot riding on the 2018 season, and I think that's what we're going to see how they play, with a lot riding on the season and a lot of people's careers when the games get going on Sunday.
Well, I think for optimism locally, obviously the Orioles are nothing at this point, right? And so much hope is on the Ravens. And in a year where Suggs, Weddle, Yanda, Flacco, all these guys getting closer to the end than to the beginning, that there is, and Harbaugh as well, and Ozzie, we know he's at the end, right? So, there's all of that sort of goes into this, but I love that they are built to win now, and we expect them to win now, and certainly out of the gate, they should go beat the Bills this week. And if they don't beat the Bills this week, and I know you spent some time on Buffalo, this would be a bad narrative to start week one if somehow, some way they trip this week and don't win.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills are, I think, significantly worse than they were last year, and it starts with their quarterback situation. They're going to throw Nathan Peterman out there against the Baltimore defense. Let's face it, one fluky play last year, and the Ravens are in, and the Bills aren't, and the whole offseason has kind of a different feel, right? So, the percentages told us that it should be the Ravens coming off a playoff season, not the Buffalo Bills. And then, if the Buffalo Bills, if the odds were changed, if the luck had changed, it would have been the Bills extending that kind of professional sports longest playoff drought coming into 2018. But yeah, if they don't beat Buffalo on Sunday, it would be very, very it would be a very bad sign.
It would be a black cloud, especially given where they have to go in the first month. And, no Jimmy Smith in Cincinnati, no Jimmy Smith in Pittsburgh. Obviously, the Hayden Hurst thing. Now they have 2 first-round picks that aren't going to be on the field much. Although I do think when Lamar Jackson is on the field, whenever they decide to do that, and however they massage that with Flacco and the offense, I think he will help them win games. I think when he goes on the field, there'll be some exciting things that could happen that will open things up for things to happen if they're executed. And I think at the end of the year, you'll look back and say, that kid helped them win games, maybe not as a 60-snap-a-game quarterback, but as a special weapon that he has.
That's one of the things I'm looking forward to, really, come the regular season. How are they going to use Lamar Jackson? Because, let's face it, they're not comfortable with him playing extended, taking control of the offense, starting a game if something happens to Joe Flacco. That's why Robert Griffin III is on this roster, at least for the early part of this season, because if Lamar Jackson has to get in there, this Ravens coaching staff, they don't have the luxury of waiting. They don't have the luxury of a season for Lamar Jackson to learn. And from all that we saw in the preseason, yes, while he progressed seemingly from the first game to the fifth game, he didn't give you that, okay, this first-round draft pick is ready to take the reins, if need be, and pull his weight on this offense. No, they're not comfortable with that. That's why RG3 is on the roster. So, but he will be used, and I'm excited to see how they do it. When they get close to the goal line, when they're in like a 3rd and short, do they put him on the field? Does he kind of fake that he's going to run and then pass? I mean, who knows? I mean, everybody's expecting him to use his legs like we all know he can, but will he throw for a touchdown? Who knows? But I'm excited to see it. I know Ravens fans are too.
Well, the energy around the building, Shawn, and by the way, Shawn Stepner joining us here from WMAR TV2. You can follow him at Stepner at WMAR on Twitter as well. That energy, you feel it when you're out there. I think if you've seen them play, watching the Weddles and the veterans run out to the young guys and get excited, it feels like there's a real buy-in going on here for what Harbaugh is selling. It feels more leadership-oriented with Flacco right now, like he has stepped out in front of this thing and has been a little bit more defiant. I think we're going to see a different Joe here over the next 16 weeks than anything we've seen here in recent times, because clearly he has that ability. We see that every time he unloads the arm, right?
We do, and he's healthy for the first time in a few seasons, and I agree with you, Nestor. I mean, I've told a few people I think we're in for maybe a career year from Joe. I know that's kind of saying a lot, but like I mentioned before, he has a lot riding on this year, and we've all heard Coach Harbaugh talk about how there's been a fire lit under Joe Flacco with the addition of Lamar Jackson. He knows his job is up for grabs, and for the first time, he's not battling his health to get it done on the field. His knee's okay. He's not wearing the brace. His back's okay. He looks fresh. He looks young. And like you mentioned, his arm is there. Listen, I think he was ready after, coming into the preseason. I think you just could have thrown him into a game, a regular season game without any preseason. I mean, he didn't play, since game 3? I mean, he played a little bit in game 3 and 2 touchdown drives. Yeah, he's ready mentally, physically, and I think Ravens fans are ready to see it against the Bills.
Shawn Stepner, our guest. All of our WNST programming brought to you by our friends at Royal Farms. Real fresh, real fast, and the tasty Kona blend in your cup. Make sure you're using the ROFO Rewards card or the app. Download your phone. When you pump your gas, you get your Western fries and your fried chicken free of charge. Also brought to you by our friends at the Lee Tessier team, Baltimore's premier realty team, and the people that I trust with my real estate transactions, with over 50 years of experience helping local buyers and sellers just like you, especially up in Hartford County and Baltimore County. It's their job to know about the latest market conditions, the government regulations, and the upcoming developments, and you don't have to worry about it. Go to leetessier.com to learn more about what they do. Shawn Stepner's our guest from WMAR. We mentioned Joe Flacco and where we are in the offense, Shawn. So much on the running game and so much on the offensive line and how that comes together. And without seeing Yonda, without seeing a truly healthy Ronnie Stanley out there, this will be a little bit of, I don't want to say an experiment, but some getting to know you over the first couple of weeks, and so much could go wrong, especially on the road in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's what gives me the most pause when you're talking about this entire team, the Ravens of 2018, is that offensive line. I mean, the depth just isn't there, and we all know what Yonda can do. We all know what Ronnie Stanley can do. I think before too long, Orlando Brown is going to be that steady guy. I know Hurst and Brown are battling it out, but at right tackle, I should say. But listen, if anybody gets hurt or misses extended time, especially Ronnie Stanley, Joe's gonna feel it. and this team's going to feel it, and Marty Mornhinweg is going to have his hands full game planning this year, even with this offensive line. I mean, I think the loss of Jensen really hurts them at center. We'll see how Skura holds up, but make no question about it. If this offensive line starts getting banged around and banged up, there's going to be problems for the Baltimore Ravens.
Shawn, for you, defensively, we don't have a lot of questions, right? I mean, I think we believe there's enough pass rush possibility. There's enough rotation and depth on the defensive line to cut a Carl Davis, to deal away a Kamalei Correa. Obviously Perryman. This team has gone through early draft picks that haven't got onto the field, never really bore any fruit at all, but they've gotten such great play out of other people.
Yeah, what I'm really excited to see this year is Brent Urban. I mean, his year was lost last year to injury, and remember before he got hurt, he really had a great 2017 preseason. I mean, he's been okay. He's been there this year, but I really am excited to see Brent Urban and really this entire defense under Wink Martindale. Don Martindale has given them a lot more freedom. It's going to be a lot more player oriented. Give them a lot more decisions to make pre-snap, and some different looks are going to be coming your way. Listen, I think we're going to get the best. We should get the best version of the Baltimore defense starting week 1 against the Bills, against Nathan Peterman, and their offensive line has gone through shambles. We were talking about offensive line before. The Ravens' defensive line and defense are going to be facing a Bills offensive line that lost Richie Incognito, which lost Eric Wood, retired. He had an injury. He was really their leader of their offensive line, and his loss is going to be felt. And then you throw in Nathan Peterman, who isn't a rookie, but by all accounts he should be. They've really taken a step back. So I think the Ravens defense week 1 should be okay going forward. We'll see how that plays out. But Brent Urban, Baltimore defense, I'm really excited to see them, especially week 1 against the Bills.
Well, you mentioned the freedom to move around. That happens when you have the Mosleys and the Suggs and the I guess on the backside, Weddle and veteran guys who know how to line up and where to line up. That was always the secret sauce of Rex Ryan, was veteran guys who knew the system and knew that you had some ability to freelance, but you were still playing within the confines of a system.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, there's a lot that we didn't see. We always are kind of, we see the dumbed down version of teams in the preseason, especially this year, I think, with the Ravens, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. While we're talking about defense, and we mentioned Wink's system, we really saw kind of a dumbed-down version here. I think there's going to be a lot of different looks that they display on Sunday, but also on the offense. On the offensive side, we didn't see, like we said, everything that Marty can draw up with the quarterback situation. So, but that veteran presence definitely gives them an edge, and I think they're deep with veterans and leaders really on this defensive side. So let's see what happens.
Shawn Stepner covers sports for WMAR TV2. You can find him out at Stepner WMAR out on Twitter as well. Anything you want to say about the baseball team on the way out the door? I don't know if you're still going down there with a Mike Flagg next week. Obviously, the A's are coming to town. The Astros will end the season here, so the Orioles are going to play some role in that AL West race to some degree. I have no idea what the offseason holds or what this ownership's going to do or what's going to happen with Duquette or Showalter. But at some point, it's going to come back into focus here come week 4, 5, 6, 7 of the football season, right?
Yeah. What I have to say about the Orioles is Sunday, September 30th. That is the final game. 3:05, Houston Astros, Camden Yards. Be there. I mean, what a lost season that this has turned out to be, and it can't end soon enough. And like you mentioned, the focus shifts squarely to the front office. Listen, no one gave Dan Duquette any chance of sticking around prior to the deadline. But he keeps making deals.
He looks like he's in charge.
He looks like he's in charge. And I don't see how, if you are going to go forward with a rebuild like this, and you let the guy who saw the kind of, I guess, downfall of the franchise, if you want to call it that, in 2018 and the end of 2017, and you let him make all the decisions, that kind of that thinking lends itself to, hey, he's going to be back next year, right? I mean, this is what I'm reading into it, but it would be nice to hear from ownership and get some plans, and maybe we do, come October 1st, maybe after the season we see what happens, but September 30th can't get here soon enough, and I'm not just talking about, because the Oktoberfest and if you're a pumpkin spice latte guy is going to be flowing.
I reserve the right to go pumpkin spice anytime I want, especially after I can't get a fresh peach. So you got to go from one great thing to another. Shawn Stepner's here, WMAR, monitoring the Orioles as well as the Ravens, and certainly got plenty of other things going on around here with college football. Terps made it interesting last week as well, and the Capitals will come back under the leadership of Todd Reardon here. Boy, we're dropping the puck in 2 weeks. It's crazy, right?
Speaking of can't come soon enough, hockey season, it's back. You know what? It was the shortest off season in Capitals history, but it was the best off season, and can't wait for hockey to resume and we can start watching. But I don't know if you felt this, Nestor. I've turned on, flipping through channels in some downtime at my house, and I'll see the Caps replays of their playoff run, and I found myself thinking, before in previous off seasons, you'd see those games and you'd see the jersey and it would be the summertime and you'd think to yourself, I know I did, the first thought would be, man, we got to go through however many months to go right back to the playoffs to see if they can do it. This franchise is coming off disappointment. Now I turn on the TV, I see that Capitals logo and I see them play and I'm like, those are the Stanley Cup champs. Let's see if they can do it again.
Yeah, let's let the regular season be a really long one this time, right?
Yeah, and it's a totally different feel, and it's such a great feeling if you're a diehard fan like I know you are and I am.
Well, you know what? I got to find when the Islanders are coming down and playing in D.C.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be checking that out. And every time I go to Islanders.com, it's something for like Tahiti and Fiji and Moorea. The Islanders don't even own their own domain name.
Oh, man. There you go.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Be well. Always good to see you out at practice and whatnot. And, hey, it's football season. Don't be a stranger around here. We got plenty to talk about.
You got it. Anytime.
Shawn Stepner joining us here from WMAR TV2. You can find him out at Stepner WMAR. You can find me in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.